This week on Turd Talks.
Logical comedian brain is like, read the room,
of course,
back it up, do the family
switch it
stuff.
up.
But then your actual brain is like, abortion!
Do it! Kill all the kids.
And the only way to get rid of it is the vaccine!
Yeah. I feel like crowd work is getting a little too normalized to the point that it makes like a lot of comedians lazy. Like they just like do
It's like, hey, what's your job? And then they just shit all
And
over it. Are we hitting the fart button on Jo Koy?
Oh wow! What in what sense though? Like what do you
Yeah.
Like you think like he did a bad job or like
was it deserved all the hate?
I don't think it was deserved all the hate. I do think like you say Taylor Swift in a sentence and they don't like it, the Swifties will come at you hard.
Okay. Hard opinion.
So I'm putting away the fart button.
No, put the fart button out and hit it right now for Taylor Swift.
I smoke a lot of weed.
I don't smoke any weed.
Me neither.
I hate it.
Really?
I just start talking about like Catholicism.
I'm
sitting in the Uber and you're like vibing and you're like, what song is this? And you can't tell it's Christian rock.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden some lyric comes out that's like, he's divine even though I can't see him. And you're like, oh,
it got me.
Thank you for reminding me.
Do we all do it?
Yeah, ready?
Can we all do
3,
it like a choir?
2, 1. There we go.
Wow, done.
Now we've started.
Now we're in choir.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ave Maria.
Is that copyright? You think that's copyrighted?
No,
I don't know, but
that's in the public domain.
Okay.
That's the town over, Ave Maria, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it is.
right.
It is,
Yeah.
And it's
I forgot
founded
about
by
that.
the
We
guy-
performed there.
That was the worst night of my
That
life.
was really bad.
Oh my God, I can't fucking imagine.
That was
you
like,
guys.
when was that? Almost 2 years ago? Like a year and a half?
Yeah.
That was almost like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
That place
December
is
of 22.
strange. It's a weird place.
It was. We performed at like a restaurant of sorts.
Well, don't say it like that. Like that was the first time we performed. We performed in many restaurants and bars.
No, I know, but it wasn't. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like it was. Was it a restaurant?
It was a sushi restaurant. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was just a shit show of a night.
Yeah.
And then I found out on my way back that town is a Catholic township founded by the Domino's Pizza founder.
Yeah.
And I was like,
really? It is? By the
I was
Domino's
like, my
Pizza guy?
whole fucking month is ruined. Like
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
this is
They don't even sell condoms in the Publix there.
They just do raw sex. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Raw dog and
The Catholic
Ave
way.
Maria.
Yeah.
That's just their whole
Welcome
thing.
to Ave Maria. Where
They're not.
It's
That's
only
hilarious.
anal.
Like, let them get STDs. It's in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
That's how they
It's
do
like
it.
Pray it
Village.
away.
That makes
That's
sense.
hilarious. Wait, that is phenomenal. I'm going to do this on stage tonight.
You
I
should.
am.
Yeah.
That they would take away the condoms thinking
To
like
prevent sex.
like,
Yeah.
now that there's no condoms, obviously they won't try to fuck.
Right. Like if that's what
Yeah.
stopping them.
I never use condoms. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry.
And it's
You
a
would
bunch of
you would fit in perfectly there. That's
a bunch of old ass people too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The show was it was Britt talking about abortion for 30 minutes, and then they were like, I don't know what's happening here.
I lean in. My first time performing it off the hook.
Yeah.
I just looked out into graying Republican. No offense if you guys are Republican. I'm not getting a Republican vibe at
Yeah.
all. You know, like you're in
Except for the man cave, but apart from that,
it was pretty loosey goosey in there. Yeah. And whenever I'm in front of those crowds, like you learn as a comedian to just like, you're going to be you no matter what. Like, yes, you adapt to a room, you read a room.
Right.
But you also, especially once you get to a point where you're headlining, you're like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I am. And I was feeling a little tension on some of the topics. And in your logical comedian brain is like, read the room,
Of course.
back it up, do the family
Switch it
stuff.
up.
But then your actual brain is like, abortion!
do it. Kill all the kids.
And the only way to get rid of it is the vaccine!
You just watch them all just.
And they literally, and I was like, I'm
Whoa,
leaning
yeah.
in. Yeah.
She's a witch.
That's right.
I'm right. I am.
In Ave Maria, that's definitely what they thought for sure.
Yeah, so,
We're starting to pray.
you know.
The dirty shows at Off the Hook are usually pretty fun.
Yes.
The dirty shows.
is.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
half the crowd is with it, and then the other half is.
True.
great.
It's very
You know what I mean?
interesting
Yeah.
It's
how
great.
that works in there. But
Yeah,
it's a good time.
It's repressed a little bit. Like, and it's like, it's
Yeah.
interesting what they'll laugh at because it's like, they're okay with dirty. And they're okay with edgy, but it's got to be their kind of dirty
edgy
and edgy.
That's so-
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, so
And you figure that out quick.
and you're just, I don't know. I feel like as a comedian, you learn to accept yourself too. So you're just kind of like, you don't like me? Sounds
Screw it.
great.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go.
Yeah. So
Let's pray together.
If you're ever struggling in Naples, just do gated community jokes. they will land every time.
Gated
They-
community
they love-
jokes.
Gated
Carl
community
Ramey
jokes.
has a great
He does.
A gated community
about
bit.
when he's living in West Palm and he's like, they're like, my block is dangerous, and he's like, my community's gay.
Yeah, that joke kills every time.
It's so
amazing,
funny.
yeah.
That's great.
Well,
so
let me
Very
introduce
Carl
you guys
Ramey himself.
on the
Sorry,
show real
we
quick. It's okay.
we stampede shit. I'm
okay.
sorry.
That's what we do.
We're from Miami.
So we'll just pretend like
Nothing
this is the
happened.
beginning, and then
Okay.
we'll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that was fucking gold. I know, I'm kidding.
We
Yeah.
did some pretty fire shit. I'm not
that's-
gonna lie, dude.
It's staying in.
All right, good.
Yeah.
But
good.
we'll just.
That's what virgins say
You
in
know, we'll
Ave
edit it
Maria.
You said that the way you said that like if it was getting out. You were like, "That's getting out," but you're like, "That's staying in." Like you were upset about it. Just letting you know we're keeping it.
Yeah.
That's
All
an
right, but you got to let me do my little bit here.
Get
you
in
know?
there, bro.
All right, so welcome back to another episode of Turd Talks with Caleb and Chloe. Today is a special day because we have Carlos Hernandez
Carl,
back. Carl,
dude.
you
This
were
guy
just-
wide-eyed me immediately. Holy
See,
crap!
I was rushing it, bro. This is what happens.
It's all right.
All right,
dude.
and
It's
we were
all
just
right.
talking about Carl
Remy. I know. Shout out to.
It's about
all
time he
right.
gets gentrified.
It's
All right.
okay. For real. I need it.
Today we have returning for the second time, actor, comedian, improviser,
Oh, wow.
Carlos Hernandez.
Nice, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Nice seeing you again.
And for the first time in the studio, actor, comedian, writer, producer, and radio host,
Oh, I have more than
Brittany Brave.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you guys for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Forgot
I
to read
have
all
more
of the other
ti-
ones of
Sorry
mine,
I
so it's
called
okay.
you Carl, man.
It's all right. It's fine.
I have more titles because I'm a woman in showbiz and I need them to justify my place.
And I have them too. I just shortened them for him, so it wasn't that many. But it's fine. It is what it is.
Didn't want to make you feel bad.
Support a woman in comedy.
That's right.
Okay.
Listen, I go off of your website, IMDb description.
That's right.
So I'm going off of what you say.
That's true because
know
I don't
what
want to. I don't want to do too much. I keep it simple. Some people, they put everything in there, and it's like so much that people are like, "What does she do?" And then
We're killing with Chloe.
Dude,
We're crushing.
love it.
wow,
Love
dude.
it.
I'm just here to have a good time.
That's right.
She's just loving
She's
it.
an audience
She's just
member,
a
really.
wholesome person.
She
She
fucking
is.
goes
Singing
to
in the
choir.
No, yeah, literally. Gotcha.
If you ever meet somebody who's, and this isn't a knock on you,
Yeah.
because I do feel like you're a realist. I get that vibe a little.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
But if you ever meet people that are like undeniably positive, you're like, oh, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're.
Yes.
They're like, I'm just full of joy and everything's amazing.
The fact that I know exactly what she's talking about is crazy.
Shut up.
Oh, who is it? Who is it?
There's like no.
She's performed here.
She's-
Anyway.
yeah, she probably danced on stage. But it's like I'm just so full of joy and life is amazing and we should be great. I'm like, do you watch the news? Like,
Yeah.
people be dying, bro.
I gotta tell you, my
lot.
mom is that person.
No.
She
Oh, really?
is just the happiest fucking lady.
But you gotta have that in a mom. Your dad has to be like. My mom was not really like that, but I know moms that are very like, oh my god, that's nice. But then your dad will set you like straight, and then it's like they balance each other out.
Honestly,
They
both of my
your dad
parents.
is
You could-
kind of like
You could throw shit in my mom's
happy-go-lucky
face,
guy
and she'd be like,
sometimes, right?
"That is wonderful."
You could take the shit from the compost and throw it in your mom's face.
and she would be just smiling.
My mom is actually the opposite. Well, she tries to be positive, but sometimes I'm like sharing good news about my life or career, and I'm like, "Dude, it's really exciting because they're gonna try to whatever." And my mom's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "What?" What? And then she's like, "These kids in Saudi Arabia are getting beheaded," and I'm like,
like,
"Mom,
"Mom."
but your daughter in Miami is having a good day, so
Yeah,
let's
let's
like,
talk.
come on,
expand on
yeah."
that. And your dad is what? Like you think he's more?
He's a little of both. He's softened as he's gotten older, but he's an Italian guy. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking. He's old. He's sick. So we were doing like death plans and his will and stuff. And he was like, "Don't put me in a mausoleum. I don't want nobody fucking talking to concrete."
I love it.
What am I, a pansy?
How dare you? The voice is gonna bounce back. We're
on.
gonna hear it back again. I don't need them to hear themselves in the echo.
What
No,
are you
Put me on the
doing?
ground. Yeah.
Put me in a cardboard box.
Like a real
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
What the fuck?
You're grieving. You're grieving. You look like a fucking idiot.
That's great.
Yeah, like so. It's all bad with my parents. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
love it.
yeah.
So, having two great comics here, I want to ask you guys,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on the current trends in comedy? Is it going in the right direction or not so
Current
much?
trends meaning like clips on the internet or
Yeah, just kind of, in general, where you feel like things are going with new comics and the new style of comedy and shit like that?
I feel like crowd work is getting a little too normalized to the point that it makes like a lot of comedians lazy. Like they just like do
It's like, hey, what's your job? And then they just shit all
and
over
they'll
it.
just like riff on it in a way
Yeah.
that's like it's funny because you're just relating to the audience, but it's not actually commentary that's funny.
Yeah.
So that type of stuff will go like viral on the internet, and then like
Yes.
it's not the people that do it well. And I like to consider like me and Brittany do good crowd work as well as like a bunch of other comics, but to just rely on that alone and like your hour is 30 minutes of crowd work and 30 minutes of somewhat good material, I think that's kind of where like it like gets a little bit like muddled waters.
Could come off as a little lazy.
a little bit, yeah,
You know?
100%.
It's
It
like-
could.
For people that try to work and write and do things.
Well, I think it's always been a tool, and I think when it started to become a crutch or become too common is when it was bad. But like to his point, there's incredible crowd work that you use to your advantage to set up a bit, or you're doing it purposefully.
Yeah.
And then also a lot of times people think you're riffing and it's crowd work, and you're like, I actually know exactly where I'm taking
Correct.
you, and this is very scripted.
Even if it is asking you a question, you're going to answer, and I'm still going to like, yeah.
And to give a silver lining about that, and like a trend that I think is happening in comedy is I think crowd work is a little friendlier now, or a little more common, because it's a little less set up punch, one liner comedy that it was in the 70s and 80s. And I think we have opened up stand-ups, not any less more forgiving, but you can tell a story and you can kind of unlock a premise. Whereas like in the days of Seinfeld or even prior or
Or
Carlin,
even like, it
it
like
was
Don
a little,
Rickles even. Yeah.
it was a little more one-liner, set up punch. But I do think, I will say that I think like people getting canceled is canceled. And I think
I agree with
that
that.
comedians are doubling down, and they're like, no, you
I mean,
cannot cancel someone's existence and career because you don't like something they said.
look at Shane Gillis from getting fired from SNL to
As
5
an-
years
yeah,
later.
yes.
That's
To
so
host. That was like that was an amazing.
Yeah, and I
thing
think that's
to
what
see.
comedians need to do that, or that's the only way we protect our art form. If you
Yeah.
start getting soft, then or apologizing for jokes, then it's
Then you're
it's
kind of
dead.
like, it's because we're supposed to be able to like, walk that line, and that's what makes it funny.
Yeah, and you got to kind of push up against that line
Exactly.
to
And
test the
you'll
water.
find it if it's like a little offensive, you'll find it, and then you'll like be able to step back on that joke or like whatever you're doing.
Rob Schneider had said something about that, and I know I'm a big fan of him. I haven't seen his stand-up. I know it's intense, his stand-up. It is, from what I've heard, but I love him, obviously, in movies and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he had said something, I think it was in response to Shane Gillis getting canceled, and he was like, how sad to live in an era where, like, God forbid a comedian tries something new and they misfire.
Right.
Like, how sad, like, that we can't even, I've had issues with venues with that, like, in
Same
Miami
here.
and stuff, where they're like, that joke about a school shooting is really, and I'm like, I'm working it out. Like, you can hear the intent behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that you're even trying to like joke about it is like,
Yeah.
it should be worth something. That's like, I know
Yeah.
that we're going through it and it
Yeah.
sucks and it's like a sad reality, but obviously like we're here
That's
to
why we
try
need
make
to
it
talk
funny.
about it.
Exactly.
Did you
Exactly.
guys? Did you see the Golden Globes?
Oh, the one that Joe Koy hosted.
The Joe Koy thing, because
Yeah.
he came under massive scrutiny
Yeah.
for kind of that same
I
thing
have
where
thoughts.
I think it was
I don't
like
know what you think about that. We haven't talked about
we haven't talked about that. I think that was a whole situation. I don't know if Ricky Gervais was supposed to like host it as per usual or like what happened within the muddled waters. But the way that I know, the little that I would know of like how that type of thing works, they're definitely hitting up other comics first or other hosts first that would want to host that when like whoever the
Yes.
host was that dropped.
I think he said
And
he
then
only had 10
probably
days.
and then he's probably under the same agency or reps as those people that they wanted, and those people didn't want to do it for reasons. Like that is not a gig.
No.
That's a very hell gig. What we call a hell gig, which is like literally a corporate gig for people that if you think you're working for like doing a corporate gig at a tech company that they think they're like solving the world's solutions, imagine doing it with a bunch of actors that also think they're
Terrible.
doing that.
I wouldn't want that gig. That's terrible.
It's
You're-
a crappy gig. So
Yeah.
for Joe to do that in 10 days, obviously there's two sides to it. In 10 days, I would argue there is something you could do. Like you hit up like all your people and be like, yo, let's write some A+ material. Let's see what happens. Let's see what it does. But it was also during like the holiday break. Like it was like
In the
10
tail
days
end of a
before, like
strike.
literally like the day before Christmas till January, whenever 4th or whenever the Golden Globes were. So it's like a very crappy 10 days to have to actually work things out. And then, obviously that's I think where the biggest mistake that was there was when he blamed the writers for when the jokes were not working, because that's
it's just not a cool
it's just
thing.
crap. That's just like not it. Like you're doing like these are people that are like, they're not as well known as you. They're obviously comics, they work out. So just to be like, oh, you guys are not laughing because you're laughing at the ones that I wrote, not the ones the writers showed.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, dude, what was the need to do
Yeah,
that?
and I just think it was a bad casting, to be honest. Like, the set really wasn't that bad. Like, I watched it, I laughed. Like, but I'm
alright.
also no, it wasn't hilarious.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also am not the biggest fan of his. Like, I respect him, obviously.
Well, he's a very specific niched out audience.
very specific, and also
Very true.
He fills out
Filipino.
arenas, but like, yeah.
he's also
They're very loyal.
Yes.
not the strongest to me. I know stronger writers as
Yeah.
comics.
Yeah.
That's why Tina Fey and Amy Poehler crush
Kill.
that, because
Yeah.
they're really good writers, and Ricky's a really good
And really good
writer.
improvisers. So that
And
if something goes wrong, they know how to riff off each other, and like,
Yeah.
it will make it work. Like these are people that
Yes.
literally did improv and not stand up. Like it's like
Yeah.
but they turn into writers that like do this. So it's like a gig like that, you have to have some level of hosting an improv background, in my opinion. I'm not trying to sell me or Brittany into this hosting gigs, but like I do think like
Yeah.
it involves someone like like a host, like when that's why they always put like like a Seth Meyers or like a Jimmy Kimmel or a
Somebody
Jimmy
who
Fallon,
is
somebody that's
traditionally
used to
a
hosting
yeah,
and
they
like
are a
dealing with
host.
this type of situation, dealing with celebrities, dealing with like how
It's
they're
also it's mass media too,
Yeah.
because it's like I'm on a morning show on a radio station now, and it's like flexing a completely different kind of funny.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Are you upset you can't curse?" I'm like, "Not really. It's less about the cursing, and it's like It's not stand up. It's not the ultimate form of free speech.
Right.
It's moms and dads and lower and middle class and
kids.
kids, and it's like."
Are we hitting the fart button on Joe Koy?
Oh wow! What in what sense though? Like what do you
We're like
Yeah.
like you think like he did a bad job or like as such?
Was it deserved all the hate?
I don't think it was
No.
deserved all the hate. I do think like you say Taylor Swift in a sentence and they don't like it, the Swifties will come at you hard.
okay, hard opinion.
I'm putting away the fart
No,
button.
put the fart button out and hit it right now for Taylor Swift. Fuck her.
No, for Taylor Swift fans, I'll
I'm
say.
over it.
No, it's the fans I think that make it worse.
It's her because, and I'm sure the Golden Globes edited it and cut it in a juicy, dramatic way, but he made a nothing joke about
That's
her that
my
night.
problem with that too.
And she
That
goes,
joke wasn't even a joke.
No
if you
joke
think-
wasn't even anything.
They just
And
cut
it's
back
like-
to her and she's just sipping on the thing. I seriously thought
sour
that it was
face.
part of the bit. I sincerely thought that like
Maybe.
Taylor was in on the bit and she did that to make it seem like she was upset. But the fact that then they ran with it and she didn't say anything like it was I'm cool with it or like I'm not. And then this guy just got absolutely. If you looked at Jo Koy's Instagram like that week,
destroyed.
it was mostly those type of just girls with Taylor Swift pictures in their profile pictures.
I
They're
just
like,
fucked
you know,
that entire.
literally.
Fuck-
I hate you.
And it's like, dude, what, dude?
Die,
Come
Joe
on.
Koy.
Fuck her, fuck her, fuck her, fuck her, fuck her. I think she's so. Fuck her. She's so disingenuous. Respect what she's built. Not
Yeah.
saying she's not talented, hardworking. Okay, fuck her. And it's like religion. It's like get better fans, bro.
Get better fans. How the fuck?
Fans are annoying. Your fans, your front line are basic ass Stanley Cup white women.
Yeah, but
who like
That's her
you're-
base.
That's
She
her
can't.
base.
That's
her bread and butter.
She could literally be like, "I think Hitler's amazing," and they would be like, "Yes,
make Hitler
queen."
merch, yeah.
They're mindless.
But that's what. But I think I'll argue
It's
this.
culty
that
a little
I'm
bit.
not saying it is a little
It is.
culty. I think that's the thing.
Yes.
I don't know if we're we might. You're gonna get canceled if we're gonna just start talking about Taylor.
Cancel me.
Well, we're already done. We're done.
I would rather listen to a
Because
it was a
Swiffer
good-
wet jet than her.
It was a good ride, everybody.
Yeah. The Swifties are coming, bro. They'll
Yeah.
find this.
Great.
On the algorithm.
Okay, first
But-
off, let the Swifties come for me because I understand that I'm small, but I'm Italian. I could break a Swiftie. I could take them in a fight.
Like a pretzel stick.
Hey,
Like-
get out of here!
Now-
I'll put you in a cardboard box.
You tell me that like Beyonce's fans, the Beehive's coming for me. I'm gonna sit that one out.
Yeah,
But
well,
you tell me Swifties are coming for me.
that is true.
I'm gonna throw a Stanley Cup at them.
Yeah. They'll be. they'll probably grab it and use it. That's
Right.
probably
And
what.
I'll be like, yeah.
More lead poisoning.
So I do. Yeah.
Exactly.
So overall, I think it was a little bit of Joe Koy's fault because he, in the sense that he got nervous and he didn't really know how to react to the bomb per se. But I don't think you acknowledge the bomb in that type of room. You acknowledge the bomb in a comedy club and you go for it. But you don't necessarily acknowledge the bomb the way he did.
You don't
in that type of
apologize
setting.
for your jokes.
Well, that too.
You know,
well,
once-
you definitely don't apologize by blaming other people that wrote the jokes. So yeah.
Or say, excuses like I only had 10 days or things like that.
That's fine, but you
just-
don't need to say that.
don't
Like you
say
could
it.
say that in
Yeah.
an interview after,
Right.
or whatever. But yeah,
I feel like he was just making excuses. I didn't.
But
like
then
that.
there was also the
He
other side.
approached it with the energy of a comic because that's
Correct.
what we do when we bomb.
Yes.
We're like, all right, whatever.
you.
You guys don't speak English or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Oh, you want to
language.
get it? You're too rich, or like whatever.
Yeah, and the
right.
whole crowd's like, literally, why are you berating me?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
And
like,
it's like what's that? What?
Not my fault. Yeah.
And then he might have not even been bombing that, but their faces would have just probably been like, huh, like smiling as opposed
Yeah.
to laughing out loud. But they're also focused on like, yo, my life could change because I could win a Golden Globe right now. So they're not. It's not the whole like, I'm just enjoying this. It's just a normal night out.
Right,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. For,
Yeah, dude. So
for
it's
a lot
like
of
there's
these.
like different
Weird
avenues.
energy.
Yeah. Plus, there's also
Yeah.
there's also the other side though. Like Joe Koy was like kind of roasting them, not really, but then like Trevor Noah, like this, what was that? The Grammys.
did not-
He
nothing.
refused to roast.
He did
was
nothing.
an
He
was like-
anti-roast.
He was like, "Oh, it's 21 Savage, you incredible human being." And it's like, what?
Dua Lipa.
3 billion listens
know.
already.
And I'm like, what's happening?
Dua Lipa, incredible performer. And
Didn't
I'm
they
like,
date?
she's just hot.
They
That's
dated
it.
though. They dated. which
Well,
is
that's why
interesting.
he's trying to
Yeah.
get her back.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I am sure she has a great pussy, but
Of
that's
course.
not the time at the Grammys to
just
try to
like-
get that back. I don't know. Point being, I think
You
the
gotta walk a
Golden
line.
Globes and the Grammys are a perfect example of how stand-up is still not fully mainstream. That's what it's the
That's a
example
really good
of.
point. That's a very good point.
That's why everyone's like, "Whoa, that's too much."
Yeah.
That wasn't.
It's
whatever.
becoming
It's
slowly, and I will say it's to the point that I've never. I mean, from being a fan to doing it, like I've never seen stand up be as mainstream as it is.
Yeah.
I will say that.
That's true. That's
but
true.
for that aspect of like that level of where it, a level like such a mass media level, international as the Golden Globes for like an award show, I definitely do think you're right. It's like that. There's a little bit of a disconnect still with something like that.
Yeah.
Because as a comic, you watch that set and you're like, that's really not that bad. It's
not that
It's
bad.
not great, but it's not. And
Right.
everybody else is like, oh, when he said what? And you're like, yeah, that's what we deal with every day.
Literally,
And
and
a lot
the
of-
fact
Every
that the Taylor Swift joke was, he flopped the joke. He just said something along the lines of like, "Oh, there's gonna be more camera angles than Taylor Swift," and it's like, huh? Like he just
Yeah, he
saying that
laughed-
they're
he
gonna
laughed
pan
at his
to
own
her.
joke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like not even like. I don't know.
Anywho.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you're feisty and you have a reputation for.
That's
she
a
had
ni-
to mention it.
That's
Yeah,
a
well-
nice way of saying mentally
Yeah.
unwell.
But you have a reputation for shutting down the hecklers.
She does.
I do.
So where do you think that comes from? Where'd you learn that skill? Is it just like a New York thing? Or
I
is it
live
like a
on the
She was born
deep.
this way.
I have trust issues. No, I think so. I think I'm very like. I think improv taught me to be quick. And I also think I love a good roasting. And I like to. I'm just equally as self-deprecating on stage as I am with the crowd. Like I'll never punch at them and not punch at myself. Like I'm very vulnerable and dark on stage. I have noticed with my crowds, they like to talk to me. And I love that. Like that to me isn't heckling. Like if they're engaged, they're like, I've had women go, so then what happened or whatever. And I'm like, I'm getting to it. Hang on. Yeah. All right. But I like that.
Yeah.
And then but then obviously sometimes it gets out of control.
You ever had to eject anybody?
I've
of
had
you guys?
I've had to have people get.
Have you ever
get kicked
ejected
out.
somebody?
I will
Ever
say I
hit
think
the fucking buttons that get out of my
I
fucking
have
show?
Yeah, there was one time, but it was like a late show at a Friday at the Improv, and this dude was like, he like owned the strip club. Didn't shut. I think you know who I'm talking about. Didn't shut the hell up the whole time. He had like bottles in the front row, and he was just absolutely.
this
like,
could be any guy in Miami.
No, true. Yeah, but
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you who it is. But it's there was a time that I literally was like, I didn't say like, yo, kick this guy out, but I made it kind of like, yo, let's get this guy out of here, because I was like
can leave,
the
yeah.
host, and it was like, if this was gonna be the way for everybody that was coming after me, I was like, nah, we can't have this.
I think you got to make it work for you
Yeah.
too. Like that's the thing. Like I'm really not like swayed by a heckler. I just immediately try to make it work for me and work to my advantage.
And that's the best way to do it.
But if you're heckling in a violent, mean, or like straight up annoying way, like I had a gig in North Miami Beach where these girls just hated me before I even walked on stage. I hadn't even gone on stage yet. And as I walked by, they were like, "Oh, you're going up?" Like, and they were hammered. Yeah, women are very nice to women often. And I was like, "I am." And then they were like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah, like I obviously, it's you deal with way more as a woman in comedy. You just do.
Yeah.
And I got on stage and like the entire room was loving it except for them, and they were very drunk, and then they just started being like, "Bitch, shut up!" But like, and it was nuts because everybody else was.
Oh no!
And then
everybody else
like,
was on their side or your side?
No, my side,
Right.
100%.
Okay.
And I was just like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
And everybody was on that. And then she was like, "I bet you won't." Yeah. Did you really though? Like, and they were just like, they just projected on.
Did you really
me.
though?
Jesus.
You're just talking about depression. Oh, were you really not depressed?
Did you really?
Yeah, like
like,
literally.
what?
I was like, "I'm single," and they were like, "Yeah, you are, you dumb bitch." And I was like,
Like,
I
what
was
the
like,
fuck?
I wouldn't want to be with you. Like, and then I had to like, in that moment, like, I knew it was gonna escalate.
Yeah.
And I actually just like high roaded it, and I was like, "Hey, you don't need to like me. Clearly you don't." Like, and that's fine. But like all these other people I think are having a good time. So do you just like want to leave? Like, it's not going to hurt my feelings.
No.
And I'm like, and I don't really want to like fight you in a parking lot, but like, I'm from a trashy part of Miami. I will, Kendall, and then they were just like, "Whatever." And I was like, and then like, they got,
Did they leave?
They got escorted. The security,
Yeah, that's
even
how
the
you do
security
it.
was like, "I don't know what's going on here, but you gotta go." And then I got an applause break. Like the rest of the room was like, "What the fuck was happening?"
Well,
And I
that's
was like,
usually what
"I don't
happens.
know."
Weird.
If you deal with a heckler
Yeah.
like that properly, like people will all back you up.
And you have to always be funnier than them, and you can be a little mean, especially if they're mean to you. You could push back, but you can never be more mean than them.
You ever felt like you've taken it too far and you're like, "Ooh, I feel
totally.
a little bad now. Like, I feel like I
Totally.
just roasted that guy or girl."
I laid it on a little thick when I was first starting off, for sure. But I think now I know how to like
Find the
pivot and do. I've never done it. I mean, I cringe over some of the shit on the internet that's like, "You should go kill yourself."
Yo, yeah.
Like Ashley Gavin.
People,
I was
the
like,
thing.
"That's
People just
terrible."
be doing crowd work and then they'll dealing with something that's just like, these people just came to watch a show and now you're basically like, "Oh, your fucking mother never loved you" on some bullshit. Like that's fine, but then you'll dig too deep
Taking
that
it
it's like, "Yo,
away.
this is not funny anymore." It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you feel awkward in the audience. Like imagine how that person feels, and
Yes.
and that person that did that, the comedian, probably feels like shit doing it, but because they're not that experienced, that's just what they are gonna do. So
Yeah.
they're just like, that's just what
it's
it is.
their
Yeah.
go-to thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you gotta walk that line, but be careful.
Yeah. So I've noticed more comedians are wearing suits. It started kind of with Steve Martin back in the day, and then John Mulaney, Sebastian Maniscalco, even like Gaffigan's wearing a suit now. And I noticed in the last few videos, you're looking very sharp.
Oh yeah,
You're wearing you suited up.
I do that sometimes. I do like the
I
Carlos
like
live
it.
show, and I wear a suit. It looks nice. I don't know. I've always enjoyed doing that. I've always liked doing like. I think it's funny when like we're normally dressed like this or like way shittier than this, like on a regular day, and then like if you have a big show, like like I enjoy that. I enjoy dressing up a little bit, like. Like I would like in high school, I always like I had like a class that was like, "Oh, dress for success" or whatever for the job you wanted. And I remember always wearing like the suit, and I like enjoyed doing the suit thing. But then like like I feel like if you wear a suit up there, it's not like they're gonna take you more seriously. And I'm not talking about a whole suit, but like like a nice jacket and matching pants, whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be. I think it's a vibe. It's like cool. I don't necessarily know how like. It applies to like women if you wear like a nicer dress, cocktail dress. I don't know that that's the same, but I think it's just like more.
It's just such a there's such a double standard.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's so much harder for as a woman to get them to pay attention to you,
Right.
To respect you, to anything from your peers even too. Like you could murder and you get off stage and your male peers even like won't give you the time of day, and then you're like,
Right.
really, like, and then you'll like go, "Oh, bro, solid, amazing."
what do I gotta wear, a
and
suit
you're
and
like,
a tie?
You're like,
Yeah.
really? But it's just, I think for me, I like to be comfortable on stage first and foremost, and I just don't want anything to distract from what it is I'm doing. I don't want them, and I know girls that wear skirts and heels, and
I mean, Nikki Glazer always wears that little tiny dress.
True.
Yeah.
And she's I like her. She's
But
very
those are
funny.
like that's what you do. Like that's what I'm saying. Like those are like that's a big
That's
show.
your Netflix special.
Or like her
Right,
special
yeah.
or
Right.
something, or
she does it, steps it up a little
you
bit.
step it up. And like we're not there yet. Eventually we'll get there. But that's why like a big show like at the Improv that like I have,
Yeah.
like that's like I'm like I'm gonna dress nice, or like at the Improv same I'll dress something.
I
like a
just
suit, but-
for me as a female in comedy, as a female comedian, because those two words always need to go together. How do you feel as a female comedian?
preface.
But also I understand that because it is a different experience.
Yeah.
But I just like being very. I need to be comfortable, and I know I wouldn't be comfortable being fancy on stage.
Yeah.
And I just don't want any, because the reality is when you step out there, man, woman, whatever, they're immediately like, why are his shoes like that? Oh, she's short. Oh, his hair's weird. Oh, her shirt's off. Or,
Yeah.
like, that's what they're doing. And you have to kind of like, I had heard too, it was like, you're in the biggest place of disadvantage with winning a crowd if you're, somebody had told me, they're like, if you're a woman, you're white, and you're attractive. Like, you're immediately starting, you're the most and straight.
Yeah.
Unlikable.
Yeah.
And they come out and they're like, fuck her. Like the way I am with Taylor Swift. It's
Right. She's just too attractive.
fuck
She's
her.
just too
Like,
attractive.
you know.
Literally, she fills all of those out. So
Right.
there you go.
She's too good.
And then
Yeah.
it's, and you're right, you're constantly, you feel it in a room. You're battling, like, they're like, oh, she's pretty. Not going to be funny. Oh, she's short. Like, why is she so short? You feel it as you're up there and you're just like,
Yeah, but if you come at it fucking right away,
Right away.
boom, boom.
yeah.
So I've noticed there's some new like male comedians are now getting kind of ripped, where before that was not really a thing. Comedians were kind of, funny looking because it made them more funny, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And now there's like Chappelle's kind of ripped,
Yeah.
Matt Rife's kind of ripped.
Well, Matt Rife is just, he's just like an attractive dude from before. I'm sure.
Right,
from,
he's
like-
just too attractive.
I want to know
I've
I've said this
his
before. He's
plastic
just too
surgeon.
he's too sexy.
yeah, that's
Too sexy.
Yeah.
His face is like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
I don't even
symmetrical.
buy the word attractive still with him personally.
But do you
I don't
think-
I don't find him attractive.
yeah,
He's-
I'm lost
yeah.
on that. It's so weird, but I know it's popular. It's a
Do you think those comedians
Yeah.
are still relatable even after they get
Like workout
fucking
and stuff?
jacked?
I mean, I think it's, and I was talking about this. Who was I talking about this with in New York? It was like that everybody, like, even like, just like Sam Morril, Mark Norman, like they've never been like fat, but they definitely look healthier than like they did like a few years ago. And I think it's something that's cool that's happening. Like I feel like everybody's
Yeah.
noticed that like a lot of comedians die from either drinking too much or doing too many drugs.
Also,
So it's like
our
getting a healthy
lifestyle
tip.
is not sustainable.
It's not.
If
So
you,
you have to like I try to
Yeah.
legitimately, and it doesn't look like it, but I try to go to the gym every day. I know you work out, like we
Yeah.
go to workout classes, like you know, like we're at a place that they pay for it for us, and we just like pay. So it's like there's no excuse to do that, and like in a lot of places where you go, like you are able to like. You should be able to work out. You should be able to eat healthy.
Just
and,
don't
like,
get too ripped on me, all right?
I'll try.
Get
bro.
ripped.
If I fucking
get
have that
ripped,
problem.
but don't get too ripped.
Don't get too ripped.
Because then I'll be like,
That's so
this
toxic.
guy's
that is so toxic.
this guy's not funny.
Try
anymore.
not to like better yourself too much.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
you know what I hate when
Just
like a very obviously obese comedian will be like, oh no, like they'll think like they'll lose the trick of like, no, I'm like
And
the fat
you
guy.
don't have jokes.
They'll just lose like
Right.
80% of their material.
Well,
so
it's-
it's like just try to be healthier though, you know.
I think the
Yeah.
bottom line with those last two questions is that like funny is funny.
Yeah.
That's it. And like whether you're like in a skirt and heels up there or you're not, and that's why I think he and I both like I dress the way I do on stage, or I just try to like, because I just want to go out there in the most neutral, unbiased
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And then what works and doesn't. And I know it's not because I looked really hot or I looked too bad or whatever the case is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. But I do think it's cool that comedians are on the healthier tip.
We're
nowadays.
really not that much of hot messes. Like up here, yeah. Like we just think more than the average person, but like I think there's been a really long-standing reputation for misconception that like, oh, you're a comedian, so you
You're a
must wake
slob.
up at like
Yeah.
4 and you do drugs
Right.
and you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And like neither, we're the opposite of
Yeah,
that,
no.
like completely. And I think once you start to take it seriously and you're busy enough to where you have to, you're like, him and I, we don't drink nearly as much as we did 3 years ago when we met each other.
Literally, it's true. Yeah.
Like we don't do drugs.
I don't drink at all anymore.
Good
Really?
for you.
That's
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I work
Yeah.
out every day. He works out every day because you just realize you're like, I can't sustain this
No.
Yeah.
if I don't.
And at the
yeah.
beginning, it's hard because you're like, oh shit, bro, this is my life now, bro. Like I can just go out
Sure.
and like, party and like nothing matters. But then like, oh, like shit
It
starts.
matters.
No, you start noticing and you're like, oh no, I can't.
It catches
live
up.
this way. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, and I think most people in comedy are realizing that, and I think that's awesome because I notice that like in every scene I go to, like it's like people are just looking healthier and like feel healthier and like like it's like a lot of comics are sober now, which is cool too. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
it's like so,
yeah.
I've toggled with the idea of sobriety for a couple reasons. I've taken like a couple month breaks.
Same here, yeah.
And because I wanted to like just reset and just see where I was at with my drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think now it's in the place it always should have been, which is like recreational, a cocktail or two to relax. Like I definitely don't need it to go on stage, but I've thought about pursuing sobriety for the clarity with my stand up. Yeah.
It does help. Like
Yeah.
before, I used to maybe like have a drink or two or a shot before a show. I don't ever drink before a show anymore at all. Or
Yeah,
do
I could have a sip, but I just try to keep it. Also, too, like that can also lead to really bad heckler because if you have alcohol in your system plus adrenaline, and then you have an asshole in the crowd,
That's a
like
good point. You
you're
never
a
have to
lot
land.
quicker to be
Yeah.
like "fuck you" or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You guys smoke a lot of weed?
I don't smoke any weed.
Me neither.
I hate it.
Smoker
Really?
at all.
I just start talking about like Catholicism.
I just start singing in a choir. Yeah.
And the Lord will save us.
That's
all.
right.
Literally, like I take a hit of a joint
start
and I'm like,
believing in Jesus
I'm
and
like
stuff?
Mary
Okay.
Magdalene was misunderstood, and I'm not fun. And my friends are like, come on. And so
Yeah, dude.
I'm working on a bit about like the peer pressure with weed is way worse than any other drug. Like it is, you
think so?
cannot, it's so prevalent. You can't be like, I just don't smoke. Everybody around you is like, come on, bro, it's good for
Take
your
one rip,
anxiety.
bro.
Come on,
You'll
bro.
sleep. It's just weed. It's natural. It's
Yeah.
basically
They'll start
legal.
telling you like all the legalities of it and all the states it's legal.
It doesn't kill anybody.
Literally.
Honestly, bro, more weed for me.
Yeah,
That's right.
take it. But they're like, they always do the symptoms. Like they're always like, oh, so you get a little dry mouth and anxiety. And I'm like, nobody does that with heroin. They're like, all right, so you'll nod off and rock your mother. Who cares?
You'll run out of spoons for a few months.
Who cares? You know, so it's like, I'm like, guys, I just don't smoke. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
always feel like, yeah.
If I do, you know what's funny? I used to
Yeah.
do this. I like when they would offer like, because you don't know if you're like a weed guy until like you really try it and see. I never
Yeah.
really have been because I've always smoked it wrong. Like I never really fully smoke it. I'm just like, oh yeah, whatever. So like my saliva will probably touch like a joint, but I'm not really like to the point that if I feel pressure, if I'm at a circle with like important people and they're doing it, like I'm not just to be a part of it. Maybe I'll like just take a
It's
rip,
like-
but it's not like
like
I'm
Bill
not
Clinton.
out here.
He didn't
sucking
inhale,
in,
right?
going out,
Right.
inhaling
Right.
and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious. The last time I smoked weed, it literally was because I had peer pressure from like a friend and all of his family at a wedding. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's just weed. And then I just sat there with dry mouth, anxiety, and couldn't sleep. And I was like, I'm in high school again.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
why did I
do
not
this?
just say
You know
no?
what it does to me? It makes me sleepy though, so that's why I kind of really don't do it because I'm already like. No, I don't sleep that well as it is, so doing it makes me like more sleepy.
I know it. I know this might come as a surprise, but we have a lot of energy.
Yeah. Correct.
We're
yeah.
a lot. Yeah, I
we
love
do-
it.
yeah, we
The
do.
last time you were on, we
Yeah.
did the show. It was like at midnight, and you were like,
I was on,
You
dude.
were on.
Yeah, we did it after.
I was like,
the
I
show.
gotta wake the fuck up.
That's what I was gonna. But we have early days tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
but,
I
I was
yeah.
like, this guy's coming in at a 10. I
I
gotta
did.
wake
That
up.
was so fun, dude. That was a good time.
That
But
was
that's also
because
why
you
we
had a
don't
great show that
sleep.
night. It was awesome.
fun.
We don't sleep for that reason because it's like, well, I'm exhausted right now, but then I'm gonna get on stage, and then
Oh,
then
yeah.
you get off stage and you're like, bro.
That's it,
Yeah,
bro.
adrenaline
You're
is-
super adrenaline pumped out. 100%.
I get the same way at choir.
Hey,
She
she's
does. She
silent
comes
but
home,
deadly,
she's
dude. I like it. She is silent but deadly.
I am
True as
fulfilled.
That's right, dude.
I love that you're like Ave Maria rehearsal raps, and you're like,
Let's do heroin.
Who's ready to
Spoon.
parking lot party?
That's right, dude.
I love her. Oh my
That's
god.
awesome. That's
Oh yeah,
awesome.
she'll surprise you.
Yeah, well, that was
I'm
great.
That was
not
great.
all that angels.
Yeah, she smokes more weed than I do.
Yeah.
so.
Is
Oh,
it
nice.
is it a
Bam.
religious choir? Can I ask?
I think I found out, honestly, you guys, I think it is, but I didn't know that until like 3 months in, I swear to
Is there
God.
any, what is not? I didn't know there was not a religious choir. Is that even an option?
It is.
Yeah.
What it is? But what are you singing instead? Like, who are you praising? You're not
That's
praising
why
nobody?
the songs
You're
are
praising
so positive.
America.
They're just that's why when she said that I was like, that's you're in a religion right now. Like I hope you know that if you don't believe, you're praising something. I hope
At one of our first concerts, they had like a prayer moment and like collecting the money, and I was like, I came home and I was like, babe, I think I'm like in a church choir. Like I think I'm literally.
But that's
like,
where most choirs are.
It was like, yeah,
Where did you go? Like, where was rehearsal that you were like, oh, we'll perform it like on a like what?
they call it a community choir,
Oh,
though.
honey, that's for Jesus.
And then I
bro.
didn't know.
Community.
What
I
else?
was lost.
But do you ever say Jesus when you're singing?
Yeah, but we
Okay, dude.
Wait a minute.
but we did in high school too. But that's the thing, because it's like most choral music is like religiously coded. You can still
Sure.
sing Bach and stuff without it being religious, but like the ACLU will eventually come after you.
So
Wow.
this is relatable. I'm with her on this because I've been in Ubers where like
It's the same thing.
Where the guy is just positive, but I thought he was fucking Bryce and Jesus. The driver's like, everything's gonna be fine, and then you're like, oh my god,
why
I think
did you
I'm.
turn into my uncle? This guy's too positive.
Yo, that's great.
I ain't getting buried by a mausoleum. No,
Don't
but
put
I
me
was-
in a box.
Don't put me in a box.
That's the name of the episode.
I'm sitting in the Uber, and you're like vibing, and
Yes.
you're like, what song is this? And you can't tell it's Christian rock. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, some lyric comes out that's like, he's divine, even though I can't see him, and you're like, oh.
it got me.
I've been fooled so many times where I was like, this is a jam. And then I listened a little closer and I was
Yes.
like,
a lot.
Damn
Yeah,
it.
I know.
I just love you're so
got me.
amazing that you're like coming home every night and you're like, our choir's amazing and the songs are so uplifting. And then halfway through one of them, you're like, are you there, God? It's me, Chloe.
yeah. That's hilarious. That's
and she's also not religious
No.
at all.
You're not.
No.
Chloe
No.
fucks.
But like,
Yeah.
in what sense?
Yeah.
Chloe's
Like,
out
tell
here
'em.
faking it, bro.
Tell 'em.
She's like,
She's singing.
she's singing for joy, dude. Not even
Straight
for him.
up. Yeah. Just
Well,
wanted
He's
to
leading the choir. Little do they
It's
know.
gotta
to leave
Are
an
you the choir
impact.
leader?
No.
No, but
No,
I'm
but-
really good at it. And
Oh,
I did it through
Not
college.
not to toot her own horn.
Ah.
This
But-
toot
Brr,
toot,
brr, brr.
Yeah.
bitch.
So she
believe that.
studied. She studied singing. This was like her thing through school. This was
Nice.
Yep.
her jam. So
So
right.
I went to University of Miami choir camp and shit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
loved that.
I wonder
wanna-
how that's. I wonder how many. I don't know. I'm not gonna go there. The choir girls at UM. I don't know how the
They are not.
they're definitely not praising.
The
Jesus.
choir girls at UM are
They're not
doing
kneeling for the right wreaths and stuff.
there at all. They're doing choir, and like they went to confessional,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing choir to make up for some shit.
That's right. No, well, yeah.
We-
Yeah.
So we're running out of time. I gotta
Yes.
ask before we run out about turds because it's just a thing that we always do.
Oh
on
yeah,
the
you
show.
didn't know about this part.
Yeah.
This is the-
Surprise.
No, I
We-
see the theme.
We talk
yeah.
literally turds.
Yeah.
So,
Like shit.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
So when you're on stage and you have to rip a fart, what do you do?
It just comes out without me realizing it.
Wow. You don't even know when it's
Yeah,
happening.
because there's a lot else going on, so it just
You don't even notice it sometimes.
no. Or I do, and I'm just like, oop.
It is.
I do a lot of act outs. So,
Yeah. So you could have just done a sound effect. Yeah.
Yeah, so literally I just like come back down and I feel like a bubble drop out of my body and I'm like, all right, well, and now I do that if I'm constipated. I just do my jokes if I'm constipated.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And what about you? What's your go-to?
If I have to fart on stage,
Yeah.
you know, they say you shouldn't hold it, but like, you know, I try to like do something with like, you know, where like, you know, in my butt that it just doesn't, you can't really hear.
I
it.
know
It's like a
exactly what
silent,
that
but
means.
like,
I know
you're just
exactly
like,
what
you know
that
what I'm
means.
talking
Yeah.
about. So like, it'll come out, but it'll just leave. You won't hear it. I'll try to make it very discreet.
Right.
oh yeah, you won't hear it.
That's a
I'm not
gift.
like in the middle.
That's a gift.
Yeah.
I'm not in the middle of a bit, and I'm like, so then my mom said, you know, like,
It's like, there it
you
is.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought. You had actually actually thought provoking.
That was.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank
I've
you.
had to burp on stage. That's way more difficult.
That's
than that.
Where you
Wait.
gotta, like go side mic.
You
Oh
gotta,
my God.
You do side mic. I like do like a thing where I do something that I know I'm about to burp, and then I'll do the word that I'm doing, and I'll just change my tone. Like I'll be like, oh, you're like, and I'll just yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I do that on stage. Like I'm like I get very like and then it'll make sense on that moment. You too
Yeah.
though. Like you can kind of fake it.
Well, I work in radio, so sometimes in the morning after I have like my morning coffee, I'm like, oh my God. And then I saw it.
We're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, my program director was like, "Did you just burp in the mic the other day?" And I was like, "Bro, it had a mind of its own."
Bro.
Yeah, I was like, "I don't know what to tell you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before you guys go, I just
Yes.
wanted to say when
Do
you
we take
when
a
you
shit on
signed,
camera?
yeah, can you
again.
just take a shit quick
Yeah.
on the floor?
2 comics, 1 cup.
Oh God.
When you signed,
No, what is the name of the toilet that you have? A compost toilet?
Yeah.
2 comics, 1 compost toilet.
yeah, that's it.
I love it.
When you signed the Wall of Fame, the picture
Yes.
last time, you wrote "Keep on farting," and I just wanted you to know that that's
Yes.
become like a saying on the show.
Look at that.
And like even when I write an email, I end it with "Keep on farting."
Amazing.
Like
Well, look at that.
it's become like a Turd Talk staple.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely. I'm ready.
Why?
Please. I've been waiting.
Where did this begin? That's like my question. Like your
obsession with the poop.
infatuation with this.
Okay.
There was zero judgment in this question.
Thank
Zero.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
didn't feel it.
appreciate
I'm just like, why
Why?
and when and what and how?
I'll give you the short version.
Thank God.
Because I gotta
was-
take a shit.
All this shit talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
me and 2 buddies started a podcast.
Okay.
Just because why not?
Right.
Everybody was doing it. We're like, fuck it, let's do it too.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny, like a play on TED Talks, but with turd. And that was
It's
really.
I got it. I'm
that was
picking up
really
what
that
you're
was
putting
really where
down.
it started. That was it.
And then you're like, we got to lean into this and make it about shit.
Exactly.
So who's-
we weren't really talking about shit. It was just like
So the name
a
came
pun.
first. The concept, the idea, the
And
substance.
It
came
was
after.
my genius idea to lean into the shit.
You know, that's why-
and go full throttle because I was like, there's millions of podcasts
This
out
is
there.
phenomenal.
There's so many
I love
fucking
that.
podcasts. How do we stand out?
Yeah.
Shit.
And then your friends
I
were like,
love it.
"I love it."
Yeah.
That-
And
there's
then
really
they
not
and then
that
they
many
left.
people in
it.
Naples.
They were like, I love it, and then they both left.
And they left. This is
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Okay.
hey, it's going good.
It's
No,
going
it's
well.
going great. I
It
love
is.
this. I had a blast.
I mean, it's
Thank you.
awesome.
That's a way better story than what I was fearing it was, which is like, in high school, I didn't have a lot of
I had a
friends.
session with. I had little poop
and I would
friends.
poop for 3 hours in second period.
I had little
hate it.
friends. I'd keep my turds, and they
And then
were all
after a
lined
while,
up.
I
as my
said
little
I
friend.
wanted to know what's inside of these things. There's like, I was like, it could have gone that way.
Oh, like a medical reason. That's interesting.
And I
Yeah.
always just thought poop was funny. Poops and
It is-
farts has just always been,
Yeah.
for me. it's-
Farts are funny. Farts
Any fart
falling
joke in a
down.
movie.
farts and fall. Yeah.
I love it.
If you guys
It's
make
fun.
a fart joke tonight,
Let's see, dude.
Also,
I will be laughing.
I used to have a shit joke in New York. I don't do it anymore. Where I'm like, now New York is crazy or whatever. It was like when I first started out, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was walking through Times Square the other day. I was on the corner of 57th and Broadway, and I saw this girl just taking a shit, staring at herself in the window of Forever 21.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was that girl, and just, yeah, like what? And it was like so stupid.
I love
dumb.
I love
So bad. And
That's
I was like taking
That's
a
good,
shit. I
though.
was like, that is disgusting. That is
love it.
abhorrent. I didn't have the heart to tell this man that girl was me or something.
yeah.
And people were always like, like, and I was like, is that really that funny to people? But it is.
It is funny.
is.
Yeah.
And
really
now I
is.
look back at that and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a turd
It would
also.
land just as good today, I'm telling you.
I think so.
Well, in
try not
Naples
to
it
put-
does.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie,
put it
we
back in
dumb
there.
a lot of shit down when we perform in Naples,
Yeah.
and we Republican it up.
We know.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We keep the Spanish to a minimum. You think we're talking Spanish, but it's just an accent. But I'll do that joke in
As
Miami
a
with
fem-
Spanish words.
As a female comedian, I just get out there and I'm like, I have an opinion about something. And then I'm like, no, I don't.
Actually, you're right.
I take it back. This is just
You'll throw it in there,
this
then
is
you
a
take it
thought.
back.
Never mind.
Or just end every joke. I didn't mean that. Just like,
sorry. Yeah. If you don't like any of my jokes tonight, come up to me after and I will apologize.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
That's great.
thank you guys again for coming on.
Thank
I had a really
you.
great time.
yeah, dude. Keep on farting, bro.
Keep on farting.
That's right. Keep
That's
on
it.
farting, America.
Which means just keep on going.
Keep
That's
on
right.
talking
Keep on
shit.
going. That's
Keep
what
on
that
talking
means.
shit.
That's
Yes,
right.
because
I love that.
it
Be
really-
real.
We talk shit on Turd Talks, and
right.
it unites us.
We have the
at those
same
shit-
sneakers. No?
No, that's literally
No.
2 different brands. Let's not get the
Bro,
no,
come
okay,
on.
cut
Who the
shit.
fuck cares about brands? Okay.